Good afternoon, and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11, and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at the pitching for today, the 2nd of September. It is Tuesday, and we do have a 9-game slate ahead of us this evening. Starting about half an hour later than normal for a main slate over on DraftKings, so something to pay attention to. We do have a little bit of rain in Minnesota. Some in-game delay risk fairly high, so we're going to want to pay attention to that. Slight rain risk in Tampa Bay. I do think that's somewhat important. I believe the most expensive pitcher on the slate is in that game. This is a first look at the pitching options on the slate, and I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you do play on FanDuel, I'll cut my pool in half or so. Pricing isn't quite as tight. You don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. With all that said, let's just jump right in and take a look at what we got going on. Seattle, Tampa Bay, the aforementioned game with some rain. Bryan Woo, the most expensive pitcher on this particular slate. And Drew Rasmussen, somebody that's very interesting to me. Reason being, he definitely shut down Seattle the first time. Didn't pick up the win. Still a strong performance. He's not a guy that has a huge ceiling from a fantasy point perspective, but he just doesn't allow a lot of home runs. Just 13 on the season. Basically 1 every 10 innings on the season. 1 every about 9.5 innings at home. Obviously, pitching in this ballpark is a little rougher, but his overall pitching numbers have been better when pitching at home. Better K rate. His walk rate does jump up. But average against lower ERA, which, whatever. It's still a metric. So there's plenty of upside with him against the Seattle team that can strike out a lot. They do have a lot of power. So home runs could worry you, but he's a pitcher that doesn't allow many home runs. So he's somebody that I really want to utilize on this particular slate. And you're going to see why I'm going to end up higher on him than some of the other guys, because there's just a lot of guys with question marks on this particular slate. The other side, Bryan Woo, obviously been really phenomenal pretty much all season long. 25 DK points against Tampa Bay the first time he faced them, and that was even while giving up 3 runs. He's not as strong on the road, which obviously, like a lot of stud pitchers, they get super comfortable at home, so it's understandable. Home runs, a little bit more of an issue for him than somebody like Drew Rasmussen. So there is some volatility here, but he just has a much higher ceiling than Rasmussen does at this point. Might have a little more volatility to him then too, because he could obviously, a minor league ballpark here against the A's, gave up 4 home runs. I suppose that's likely. Tampa Bay doesn't have the same kind of power that the A's do, but I think both pitchers super in play. Gladly play both of them at this point. Next game, Chicago, Atlanta. Look at the wind in Wrigley blowing in from center field. It is in the mid-70s. A little warmer than some of the recent games, but I think both pitchers are going to be in play. And it's weird. Imanaga, he's whatever. He's fine. He's not, he's similar to Rasmussen, and he doesn't have a gigantic ceiling for the most part. His home numbers are pretty strong overall. I think he's going to be completely fine against the Braves offense that has been a letdown much of the season. Now they have some guys like Profar. Albies have heated up a decent amount, and Acuna is always dangerous. Olsen and Harris, definitely some volatility, but I think Imanaga's fine. He's just not somebody I'm, planning to jam in. We'll refresh, see if we get some ownership projections, get an idea of where the field's going to. Joey Wentz struggled against the Cubs first time he faced them. He's been really good on the road, and with the wind blowing in, he might be viable on this slate at 6,500. I think right now I don't really want to use him, but I'm open to the idea of him being in my pool at this point. He's allowed 1 run or fewer in each of his last 3 road starts. Pretty good trends there. Not really a guy I think has a ton of upside generally, but we have seen some of the Cubs lineup struggle enough. So, like, I don't hate the idea of considering him. I just don't think I'm going to end up on him at this point. Take a look at some ownership projections really quick while we switch over. Just because I was curious about Imanaga and where he was going to stand. Yeah, about the sixth highest, 16%. It's not terrible. Wentz way down at 2%. Probably somebody that we just don't need to play because I don't think he puts a ceiling type performance up, to be honest. So, I mean, even if he puts up 20, are we really hurt at all? By a 2% own 20 fantasy point pitcher? Not really. White Sox Twins mentioned a lot of rain, potentially. Woods Richardson might match up all right. He's been decent at home, but I'm not using a below average or subpar pitcher against even a weaker White Sox team. Davis Martin, a couple of decent performances against the Twins, but with the rain situation, definitely makes it a whole lot easier to not consider either pitcher in that game. Angels, Royals, Michael Lorenzen, somebody that I do utilize. We were on him here against Arizona, but we've also been on him, in other matchups where it's gone the other way. He's kind of all over the place to a degree. He is at home where he's been far better. His K rate's better on the road, but doesn't allow as many home runs. Just overall, from a fantasy point perspective, he's been stronger, and that's without picking up a couple of extra wins in there. I think he's really solid for GPPs. I don't want to get too heavy on him. 24.5% is a pretty high number, and it's a scary high number for a guy that projects. We have him at 12.5 fantasy points. That's not a very good point per dollar. I don't use point per dollar as a deciding factor because I want raw points. I think that projection is pretty low on him. I think there's upside for more than that. So Lorenzen's upside in this matchup because of the K upside is really strong. Mitch Ferris on the other side, pretty solid strikeout rate in the minors, but this is a Kansas City team that doesn't strike out that much. He's lengthened out, 6 innings. Pretty decent overall numbers. Just not some big-time prospect by any means. He is making the jump from AA to the majors. I just don't think I can get there against a Kansas City team that just doesn't strike out a whole lot, and I think could cause some problems for the left-handed rookie. The A's and Cardinals, I'm not playing Miles Mikolas. I don't care. I say it every time he pops up on a slate. It is what it is. Luis Severino, extreme home road splits. He hates pitching in Sacramento. His K numbers on the road are pretty bad, though. But his just overall numbers on the road are really strong. And for that reason, I think I'm going to be using Severino in his return from the IL. He didn't make any rehab starts through a simulated game. That's worrisome. So we're going to want to try to find out any kind of pitch count that might be out there to get an idea. If we hear that we're going to get 75 to 85 pitches, I will be using Severino. If we find out that he's only going to throw like 60 pitches, then I'm going to have to pass. It's not the greatest K upside matchup, but St. Louis lineup, I believe, has started to strike out a little bit more over the last 2 weeks or so. I'm trying to bring up some of their numbers on my other monitor. Over the last week, they're striking out about 10.5 times per game. That's a big jump for a team that hasn't been striking out. So there is some upsides for Severino if we can get 5 to 7 innings out of him. Probably about a 0% chance we get 7 innings in his first start back. But 5 or 6 is possible, with the likely being the 5-inning mark. Houston and the Yankees, Framber Valdez. His performances are all over the place, super volatile. But when he's on, he's super dominant. not the lock to be a quality start guy like he was 2 years ago. More volatility to him, but still, like, there's a lot of upside. Now, his numbers on the road have not been kind to him. He still doesn't give up many home runs. That's a big thing. Taking on a team that hits home runs, most likely, like, there's a chance that he could surprise. Now, he did face the Yankees once this year. Didn't give up a home run, but only picked up one strikeout. Allowed a ton of base runners, and that's a big worry, is allowing a ton of base runners. I think he just has so much of a ceiling that I want to use him in my pool, but I don't want to be overexposed to somebody like Framber Valdez. 16.5% seems a little high. I don't know if I really want 20% Framber, but maybe somebody we go slightly underweight on, 10, 12%. Get our exposure, but, not be in a spot that it's going to kill us. On the other side, Max Fried. Rough stretch, followed up by 2 pretty strong starts back-to-back. Struggled against Houston first time I faced them. Houston's super right-hand heavy. Traditional Fried used to be more reverse splits. I'm not sure what he's at right now. I haven't looked at those. His numbers when pitching on the road, not as strong. Framber Valdez at home has been elite. I guess I mislooked at the matchup. I thought it was in Yankee Stadium. It is in Houston, so Framber Valdez's home splits are extreme. Fried hasn't been as strong on the road, but I do think he's somebody I want to utilize. Framber's home splits, he's been absolutely phenomenal. Nearly 24 fantasy points per game, and that's even while picking up a win in less than half of his starts at home. Really strong numbers there, so it is interesting. Both pitchers are guys I want to use just because name brand upside, but I have reservations about both matchups. Coors game on the slate, Kyle Freeland. I'm passing on Kyle Freeland. I don't care. Somebody wants to roster Kyle Freeland and his home numbers. Go right ahead. Enjoy it. I will be enjoying not rostering him. The other side, Logan Webb. We know how solid he is. Takes a hit on the road generally. Pretty solid against Colorado the first time he faced them. 25 DK points is pretty good. He got to face them at home. You have to look at what his career numbers are like in Coors as a ground ball guy. Generally, those guys don't fare as well in Coors since they don't get the sink, but it is Colorado. I do think we want to use Logan Webb on this particular slate. Projected as the highest owned, which is a little worrisome, right? The highest owned pitcher on the slate is going to pitch in Coors. It's kind of questionable, but that's the type of slate we have ahead of us. Texas, Toronto, Jacob Latz and Nibble Chrismat. Latz is somebody that I am going to consider. He up to 66 pitches last time. He's been yo-yoed between opener and longman, starter. He's kind of been all over the place. Season high in pitches, 84 pitches. I think he's 80s or 88 pitches. In the 80s 3 times. He's kind of trending towards, being around 80 pitches in this particular matchup. And I like left-handed pitching against Arizona, especially with Lourdes Gurriel getting hurt. So I am going to utilize Latz. Chrismat, not really somebody I'm going to be interested in. Not a big K guy at this point. Baltimore, San Diego. Yu Darvish in this ballpark. His home road split's pretty strong. I am going to play him against Baltimore. The offense has been weak enough on the road. And Tyler Wells, probably not somebody I'm going to utilize. He did throw 6 1/3 his last time out. But I could see them only going 4 innings or so. Plus, San Diego doesn't strike all that much. Probably more of a wait-and-see approach on Tyler Wells in his return from the elbow injury. There we have it. There's the first look at the pitching options on the slate. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on. Get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc. I'll put links in the description below. You can use promo code KICKOFF2025 to get 20% off your VIP membership for life. That'll be in the description below. And always a link to our merch store. You can check out my hoodie and everything we have there. And as always, best of luck, everybody.